Hello, everybody. Hey, welcome to Santa's Switch Adapted Toys. Today we're going to do the Fur Real Mood Wings toy. And this toy is kind of an interesting one here. It's got multiple activation features. You can do all kinds of different things with it. I've got its eyes open, its belly lights up. It's got some inputs that apparently are on the forehead. Input here. And these two right now are inactive because I've disconnected them inside. And then the other input, the one that we're going to attach for the switch adaption, is putting a binky in its mouth. And when you put a binky in its mouth, or a pacifier, starts making slurping sounds. And because of the other inputs, the only one that I can find that we can adapt over and put a cable on for a switch adapted toy is the one that activates the mouth doing so that's what we're going to do. Now I've opened up this toy and did a little bit of the investigation inside and discovered it's fairly difficult, but not impossible to open up. So we're going to turn him off. You need a fairly small screwdriver. And there are all these points on the back, screws on the back that's got to be taken out. So in the head, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And then on the body, there are 2 on each side of the base of the tail here, and another 2 which are, let's see, I'm not even sure I can show them on camera, but they're located under the wings, and it would be right there. You kind of see where the channel is right here. And same thing on the other side of the toy, in there, right in that section there. Now, I'm putting the screwdriver and pointing at this slot, but you can see that position to get the screwdriver's got to go here to get that screw out in order to pull the clamshell body apart. And because of the wing, you can't get a very straight shot on it. So that's where some difficulty was for me to get a screwdriver down onto that screw. But once those 10 screws are out and safely put into a dish, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. Safely put into a dish. Tools set out of the way. Then you can pry this open. Now, prying this open is got its own special things because the wings are always going to be trying to flap down in the way. I took a flat screwdriver and a parting tool for this comes if you're going to put stereo in your car or something. It's a trim tool removal for your automobile. But no, I'm sorry, this isn't either. This is for taking apart small cases and getting replacement batteries. That's right. And and so I have a few different types of tools like this because they're non-marking, unlike a screwdriver, which might damage the plastic. These are unmarking. Now, with all the screws out, I started with a gentle pry of a screwdriver underneath here on behind the arm, and that started to open up the case a little bit. And then I come to it with the other pry and worked it apart. Now, this is a very tight compartment inside, full of all kinds of components that make this thing work, because as you play with it, the eyes move and all kinds of things happen. But once you've got it apart, a couple of things that are going to occur immediately. The arms have no mechanical function, so they're going to fall off. They're just set into sockets, like a doll's arm from back in the the 40s and 50s. They're set into sockets. The second thing is that there's two sensors, one behind the nose here, which I think is a sound, but I'm not sure. And I don't know what this is. That might be a light sensor. Again, I'm not sure. But the wiring for those two sensors is fixed to the front. All the rest of the mechanics and wiring is on the back of the body. So when I pulled this off, it kind of all of a sudden came apart. And when that occurred, let's see here, it's got a big gap, but it's still not free to come apart. So you heard the arms fall off. The other thing that jumped off, and you can see now I've got two loose wires all of a sudden. How did I get two loose wires sitting up in the top? That's normally not a good thing. So the first thing you do is you troubleshoot, where do those wires go? It looks like they were wrapped around the top of the eye, and they went to, you can see here I have a yellow and a white. Let's set this aside so I can bring this to the camera. And you see right there, there's a yellow and a white receptacle plug socket on the circuit board for those to go back into. But that's a pretty tight fit to deal with and try and figure out to take apart. So I was grateful that they popped out of there easy for us. Okay, so the mechanics of this. The mouth, when the tongue goes down, it is depressed because you put a pacifier or something in its mouth. You can see here, I can replicate the action from the front. That makes this paddle move, okay? When that paddle moves, that activates this switch, okay? Right there. So I'm going to turn it back on for the moment. Try and keep it open long enough for us to check it. Okay, so we're going to hear the purring sound, the comfort sound. Slurping body, the slurping bottle sound, okay. And so that's our switch. That's where we're going to work on getting our connections to. So let's turn them off again. Okay, and on that switch, which is mounted onto the circuit board, see if we've got some light on it that yep, sure, that's light, but it might interfere with what we're looking for. No, it doesn't. It just shows it. So on the side of the switch it's mounted to the circuit board with 4 contact points. 1, 2, and then on the other side, 3, 4. Okay. Let's turn it back on. We're going to test which of these points to solder to. And I'm going to put a screwdriver and short this out. And our little mood wings has just turned into a satisfied sucking on the bottle noises. Okay, so if we cross these two, we can put our switch there. If we cross the two on the other side, we can do the same thing, because that also gives us the satisfied sound that the mood wings is sucking on the bottle. So that's what we're going to hook our wires. Because it's pretty compact, let's turn this back off again. Open the wings up for a moment so we can see and work. Thank you. We're going to drill from the inside out so that we don't damage or run into any circuitry inside of here by accident. I'm going to take and put my wire. I need to miss the battery compartment, which is all of this. I'm going to put my wire either here or over here, cable coming out. And I can go, I'm going to drill straight out right here. And that brings the cable close to here on the back by the battery opening, where you can open the battery compartment. Bring this in, tie a knot in it, keep it from dropping back out again. Get my soldering iron turned on. Let's see if I lay something on the arms. Maybe we can get a, well, let's see, I've got a little bit ahead of myself. I want this cable. I got to verify that my cable is going to be close, free enough. Yeah. So the cable's free enough to stay where it was and not pull out and not put any stress on my wiring. The next thing to do is to solder our connector plugs on there. I've got a red and a black wire. It's just a mono cable, which is all that's needed for switch adapted toys. And if you, let's see, I'm going to shorten that cable. I just realized something. This white bar is a moving part. So I'm going to shorten that cable a little bit and help to keep our cable out of the way. And I'm going to attach my solder points on the right side of that and see if I can lay that down in here. I'll bring this up to the camera when I'm done because I know that this is not easy to see. It's a very tight place to work. But let's see if we can solder these in without, let's see, here we have. Nope, that didn't solder. That one did. Okay. And maybe I should have done the other one first because this is kind of in the way, but I had confidence. Again, this is a time I'm using some reverse tweezers here, which makes it pretty easy to hold the wire in place while I solder this up. Okay, yeah, I did solder it, but I didn't like the quality of that connection. Okay, so now it's soldered to it, and I mean, when you can pick the toy up with your solder mark, you know you've done a good tight job. Let's hook this up to a remote adaptive switch. Nope. Okay. So now we've got wings flapping all over the place. Our wire is not going to interfere with anything. That's good. Okay, so let's turn this back on. kind of try to keep the wire down underneath there, round over the top of the wing, I think, for the moment. Okay, so you can see here now where I've soldered the wires. They're located right onto the right on the side of that switch in there. And let me push my adaptive switch. And we've activated the toy and it's making its sucking sounds, very satisfied. And released it. Now we'll activate it again. Okay, so that is now adapted. And the only thing we need to do is to put it back together. Something that might occur when you open up the toy, the little horns on the top might come out. It only goes back in one way, so it's easy enough to do it. They just slide in. We're going to turn this off. Lay the toy down. If you look at the hands, or the arms rather, they go in one way. You want to keep the thumb to the front. So I can tell which side goes which arm goes on which side. And thumb to the front again. And it jumped out over there. Let's see if we can set that in there. Keep it long enough. Set that in there. Keep it long enough. Okay. So, yeah, we'll work with that in a few minutes because we've still got this to do. So, the wiring for this, we're going to, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this, get the camera close again, but I'm going to set the body together, start setting it together. I'm going to reach in with my reverse tweezers. I'm going to line up the orange one and get it dropped into its receptacle. A little tweaking has got to be done to do this. Let's see. I guess I do have some room to show this assembly. Here we've got the orange one in. I've got the white one. Okay. So those are now back together. All right. So we'll pick it up. And you can see now that we've got the white and the orange connections back in the proper places. And if you pry this open slower than I did, I had a kind of a jerky motion on it, you might be able to actually see those disconnect them better than pulling apart like I did. Arms. This arm goes on this side. This arm on this side. And if everything's lined up, as you can see there, it just snaps right together. Okay. So that's back together. Switch adapted again. We're gonna, let's see, I turned him off. Okay. And activate with the remote, with the adaptive switch. Oh, okay. Turn him on. Now it can be activated with the remote switch. Okay. So, and this comes with a couple of different pacifiers. I think I'm not going to open up the packaging it comes with. There were 3 of these packages. I opened up the one that felt like the pacifier so that we could activate it with the pacifier and determine that that's the connection we want. So putting those screws back into place, again, very cautious on the 2 behind the body there, behind the wings, but otherwise it's fairly straightforward. They just drop back into the spots. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for watching. Another switch adapted toys from Sandy Switch Adapted Toy. Bye.